What the heck is a system message, Jace, and why do I care? In Ultima Online, we use system messages to know when certain things happen in the game. Training your sword skill, you'll see a system message in the journal. Double-clicking your hatchet to chop down a tree, system message. Tracking a player to either kill or run away from, you guessed it, a wild system message appears. The problem is that these system messages only show up in your journal or the bottom left of the game, and it can be easy to miss. In this video, we're going to talk about ways to take advantage of system messages, make them more visual, using scripts, cooldowns, and overheads. System messages versus journal messages. First, let's touch on the difference between system message and journal messages. I get asked a ton if we can read chat messages to trigger something from a Razor script. The answer is no, since unfortunately you can only look for true system messages coming from the game. A message like "bless me bro" is just a regular journal entry. If you want to trigger an action within a script based off something happening in the game that isn't a system message, you're going to need to get creative and think outside the journal. Bless bots and other butlers will use items, runes, books, and other interesting ways to know when to fire specific logic from a script. If you'd like me to cover that in its own video, drop a comment and let me know you're interested. While you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe for more UO content. Where is a list of the available system messages? The bad news? There is no list. The good news, I embarked on a quest to find it, and I parsed over 2 years of log files and found over 4.7 million system messages. I created an open source project that will allow you to parse your system messages using a single Node.js file and let you see a breakdown in their own text files too. Check out a link in the description, but it's on my GitHub, Jace Holmes. I was able to turn my 4.7 million messages into about 580,000 unique entries. I was then able to parse it down into about 5,200 message groups by attempting to filter down dynamic variables like time left, specific values, player names, etc. I'll be posting these results to uoragescripts.com website, but at the time of the video, I'm not quite done yet. It is, the next day already when this video is due. What can we do with these 5,000 messages, you ask? This is where we could use them for cooldowns, visual overheads, and scripts. Cooldowns. On Outlands, there's in-game cooldowns that can be triggered via system messages and overhead messages, among other types of cooldowns. The text inside these cooldowns is not case sensitive and can be a partial match, meaning if we just want to add a helpful tracking visual cooldown, we could do something like this in the game. We go Alt-O, cooldowns, create a new one, name it tracking. We could use the trigger text now tracking and set a cooldown of 60 seconds. Now a red tracking cooldown will appear when that system message shows up. If you want a list of predefined cooldowns, be sure to check out my cooldowns XML on the uoragescripts website. Displaying overheads. The other way we could use system messages is to display overheads in game. If you're anything like me, I only really focus on my character, and it's hard for me to keep track of the journal or the system messages that are coming up on the left. Adding an overhead lets me keep eyes on the prize and still get alerted when things are going down. To add an overhead, you can head to Razor, select the Displays Counters tab, and go to Overhead Messaging. We want to make sure that we have the Show checkbox filled in, and from here, you can search for specific messages or just add in your own text. It doesn't need to find an exact match in the game to be valid. Let's add a tracking overhead message. For this one, let's type now tracking and click add. We now enter a message that we want to display over our character. We can also set a hue, which is the color that will display. You can choose this in-game or by typing in a number. If you're looking for a list of colors, be sure to check out the website. Links will be in the description. This tracking message is helpful, but we can make it better. If you noticed in our system messages, the now tracking contains the name of the person and the number of spaces to the target. We also see distance to destination, and it has a dynamic value of steps. Let's update our overhead to output some of this information. So for now, instead of our output just being the words tracking, we will re-output the entire system message or just parts of it. To do this, we use replacement variables. The system message is broken into variables using spaces, so each word actually becomes a number. The message now tracking banded mount seller, 5 spaces to target, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can update our output as this, tracking 3, 4, 5 away. The only problem here is if a message has more spaces, maybe due to a character name with a space, you actually won't get the correct space away value, and instead just get the rest of their name. You might want to add all the different replacements and try to handle that, but unfortunately, if it doesn't have a value, then you'll just see the words bracket 9, bracket 10, etc. The good news is, this is only a problem when the message is dynamic based on some player input. So the choice is yours for deciding how you want to handle that overhead. If we want to get the true steps, we can actually use the distance to destination because that will always be 4 to get the number spaces away. Hey, Jace, that's pretty cool. Can we do that from scripts too? We can check for system messages and Razor scripts, but unfortunately we don't get access to the dynamic replacements like we do in the overheads. If you want to check for specific things like steps or player names, you actually have to check that within the script itself. Stick with the tracking example. If insysmsg now tracking someone being tracked, when we run the script, whatever the system message for now tracking will be popped out of the queue. There's a special command that you could use where you add a exclamation point to the back of insysmsg, and it will no longer pop the message from the queue. This allows us to add extra logic, like how many steps are being used. So if I hit play in the script here, we actually go inside of this script and we don't consume this message until we hit one of these steps. I also like to do that for when calculating symbols values. That way we're only entering this logic when holy symbols remaining is true, and then we can check each one. If we don't do the consume, then you're checking all of these variables for potentially nothing. All right, cool. I know I didn't cover very many system messages in this video, but I do want you to know there's a bunch to play around with. So like even looking at the now tracking example, if we look for now tracking, this is kind of how that looks, right? Same thing with distance to destination, distance to destination. There's 6,000 of them there. And so if I look in here, it's all these different step values. So there's, again, tons to work around with. I'll be working on getting my entire system message list added to the UO Addicts and UO Razor Scripts website. And I want to create a way for us to share our cooldowns, overheads, and scripts with each other. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe for more. There's going to be new videos every Wednesday. Catch you next week. Peace.